Good afternoon. Welcome to the Shot Clock, where my three guests debate some of the best topics in all of sports. I'm your host, Jake Ouellette. I am joined by my good friends, Mason Cycenas-Heimer, Gabe Shaw, and Kaden Trenoweth. So let's get right into it. We're right into the off season right now for baseball, and we got to talk about who are some of the most impactful players left on the market right now. Mason, take it away, my friend.
So my most impactful player free agency is Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker is a four-time Gold Glover in the outfield, and he just led the Cubs to the playoffs this most recent year. He's a World Series champion. He hasn't slugged under 450, so I think he would be a great option in the outfield for any spot. And it's looking like the Dodgers are probably going to go out and get him and spend those big bucks like they normally do.
Yeah, I like Kyle Tucker a lot. One of the best players on the market right now. Gabe, who do you got?
Alonso, he's a big power bat in a lineup that doesn't really hit home runs, and the main lineup I'm thinking of is the Boston Red Sox. They went into the playoffs with, not really a great pitching staff, but with just like a big one pitcher, and their offense didn't really do anything. So I would say Pete Alonso would be a perfect bat in a lineup like that. Maybe the Brewers as well. Maybe he needs a change of scenery because the Mets have just not been able to do anything with him. He had a great season this year, and I think he'll be a great impact player this coming season for a new team.
We'll see where the polar bear ends up. We'll see if he stays up north or goes down south. Caden, what do you got?
I got a guy that is not even a free agent this season, but he's going to polarize all of sports media. Tyreek Skubal is going to win back-to-back Cy Youngs, and he has a $250 million gap in his demands for a new contract with the Detroit Tigers. I think it's only a 20% chance he actually gets dealt. He still is under team control for this 2026 season, but every big-name market is going to throw every top 10 prospect they have at him. He is someone that is going to dominate the headlines throughout this entire offseason.
We love Tyreek Skubal, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. Does anybody have any thoughts on these three guys?
I think Skubal personally stays put with the Tigers. The Tigers need to stay in playoff contention, and Skubal's the guy to get them there. Like Kaden said, coming off back-to-back Cy Young awards, I think that he's the guy that they need to keep and hold on to for the future and many years to come.
So what offer? He's not going to stay with the Tigers his entire time. We already know he's going to test free agency. What do you do as a Tigers front office? You have to move on from a guy who has $250 million past your asking price.
Personally, I think they could wait until the trade deadline and still get a decent amount of prospects and probably top 5 prospects from any team that wants them.
So who do you think is most likely to land him?
I wouldn't be surprised if teams like the Red Sox or the Philadelphia Phillies go out and try to get him. The Red Sox still have 2 top 10 prospects in Franklin Arias and Peyton Tolley, and those 2 can probably get it done just to get him at the deadline next year.
I like that. I like the Red Sox getting him. That's my team, man.
So we talk about very polarizing players, very good players here on the market. But now let's get a little bit of a thinker in here. Biggest what if in baseball history? Mason, take it away.
My biggest what if is if A-Rod was traded to the Red Sox back in 2003 offseason. So the Red Sox won the World Series in 2004, but before that, they dealt Manny Ramirez and Nomar Garciaparra to the Texas Rangers for Alex Rodriguez. The trade got jinxed because the MLB did not want A-Rod taking that much of a salary cut. So you can only imagine the butterfly effect after Manny Ramirez gets dealt to the Texas Rangers and gets sent back to the Red Sox and then wins World Series MVP in 2004. I think the butterfly effect, if that trade goes through, still holds to this day. Maybe the Red Sox are still in their World Series drought, or maybe they're multi-time World Series champion dynasty like the New York Yankees.
Yeah, Manny Ramirez, one of the biggest pieces of that playoff run. Nomar, also a big piece of the playoffs because he got traded. The 2 guys that they brought in for that really helped that World Series team. Gabe, what do you got?
Going off of what Mason was saying, I'm personally happy that A-Rod didn't sign with the Reds, or they didn't trade for him. I'm happy that didn't go through because I like the situation the Red Sox were in. But for my biggest what if, I'm going more recent. And I'm going to go with, what if Trey Yesavage stayed into Game 7 of the World Series this year against the Dodgers? He was in the 8th inning. He let up a home run, which cut the lead to 1 for the Blue Jays. But aside from that, he was dealing. And I know he pitched Game 1. He pitched Game 4. So you got to, if you're the Blue Jays, I feel like you got to keep him in. Hoffman has been struggling since September. he was struggling to end the season, and I think it was just a bad decision by Schneider to take Ye Savage out.
Yeah, Jeff Hoffman, one of those guys. He hasn't pitched much. He's been very bad throughout the year. Last year with the Phillies, his really only good year heading into this year with the Blue Jays. Kaden, what do you think here?
So I got to go in general, the Los Angeles Angels wasting the career of Mike Trout. This guy was a 3-time MVP before turning 27, 9-time Silver Slugger. He was crowned as the next great one before he even turned 25. And now he's just doing the normal trajectory. He's getting older, his career's slowing down, and the Angels haven't surrounded him with competent players at all. It's just a sad sight to see, man, for one of the best players the league has ever seen. We're not going to see a glorious career for him.
Yeah, Mike Trout, probably I agree with you, one of the bigger what-ifs in all of baseball. Anybody have anything to say about any of these three topics?
I can actually agree with Gabe. It reminds of the Savage take. Them taking Savage out of Game 7 of the World Series reminds me a lot of when the Rays took out Blake Snell of the World Series against the Dodgers 5 years ago. Blake Snell was shoving that game, and I think they could have won that World Series game if they kept him in. And the same thing goes for Game 7 with the Blue Jays and Savage.
Yeah, it's all about like analytics now. You know, they like taking pitchers out. Oh, he's gonna do this now, so we got to take him out by the 6th inning. Like, bring it back to old baseball where the pitchers threw like 120 pitches. You know, I mean, obviously it's not good on the arm now, but they're just kind of weak now with pitchers, and I think it would be better if they kept pitchers in longer. Trust your pitcher, you know, not analytics.
I think that's what really makes Dave Roberts and Yamamoto's situation in that Game 6, Game 7 so special. Just not something we see every day. That guy came out the day after throwing 90 pitches and came out and threw 30 more in a clutch situation. Like, that's not something we see anymore. Like, seeing that was unreal seeing that live to clinch a World Series.
Any other final thoughts before we move on here? So we have tightly contested one. But when we get back, Kaden and Mason will go one-on-one in the final topic. We'll see you in a minute.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom. It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back to the Shot Clock. I'm Jake Ouellette. My two winners here for this final round, they're going to go one-on-one. We'll see who comes out on top. Mason Cycenas-Heimer, Kaden Trenoweth, both very tightly contested in the opening stage. Gentlemen, the debate of all time here, who's the greatest of all time? Mason, go ahead.
My GOAT has to be Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds leads almost every statistical category for hitting, especially the slugging percentage, on-base percentage, and home runs. But the biggest gripe against Barry Bonds' GOAT case is that he used steroids. He hasn't personally documented that he didn't use steroids until the 1998 season. Before that, Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer already. If you look at his stats when he was on the Pittsburgh Pirates and his first 2 years on the Giants, he was already a Hall of Famer with over 150 home runs and 250 stolen bases, along with 2 MVPs and 3 Gold Gloves. I don't think that steroids had a major effect on his playing. I just think that it had an effect on his after-playing career.
Yeah, the one thing with Barry Bonds, he never got suspended in a time where suspensions were handed out left, right, and center. So with the Hall of Fame case, he's up for it again. I do like the idea of Barry Bonds being the greatest of all time. Kaden, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a guy who didn't have the quote-unquote until in a situation that's held against him in a case for the Hall of Fame. I just got Ted Williams, right? This was a guy who was an absolute baller. He came into the league, instantly dominated, led every statistical category, batting average, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, you name it, he was in the lead for it. The only problem is the New York media at the time just gave it out to the Yankees. That had a big detriment on his career, so a lot of his awards that he would have won, he didn't actually get to win. Same with the playoffs. That was the time of the MLB era where you just put 2 teams in the NL and the AL, and they just fought it out. There was no postseason for him to actually show off in. And then on top of that, we're talking about a guy who 5 years he gave up in his prime to go serve his nation in the wars that they were fighting, World War II and the Korean War. This guy was a certified baller, ended his career with a .344 batting average, still leads the league all-time in on-base percentage. He is someone that every young man should have looked up to in that time period.
I love the take with Ted Williams. Kind of going a little outside the box here. Mason, Kaden, any final rebuttals to each other before we call it a quit?
Yeah, my guy was just pure testosterone. Mason's was PEDs.
All I have to say is that he wasted 5 years of his prime, and Barry Bonds' statistical numbers outweigh Ted Williams' statistical numbers.
We're going to say wasted when he went to war?
I think baseball might have been more important at the time.
Okay.
Definitely some interesting takes to wrap it up. But our winner this afternoon is the one and only Kaden Trenoweth. Thank you for watching the Shot Clock this afternoon. I'm Jake Ouellette. We'll see you next time.